Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to New Deck Profile. Now, I'm aware that Galvantula isn't strictly a new deck, quotation marks. This was actually available on the Premium Battle Pass for Stellar Crown, but during the last 5 days of Stellar Crown was when I was finally be able to, actually get back onto TCG Live and play some games. And the deck that I enjoyed the most playing was actually Galvantula, which did kind of surprise me in a few ways because, on the one hand, I've been really, really looking forward to playing Galvantula EX, and on the other hand, it's basically just a glorified premium battle pass list that I modified slightly, so I didn't expect it to be that good, basically, at all. And I'm happy to report it's honestly been a ton of fun to play, and I would definitely recommend giving it a go if you're a bit stuck with Galvantula. Is this the best, most optimized way to play this deck? Maybe, maybe not, but I just thought I'd throw my 2 cents out there, explain Galvantula, and yeah, drop a list in the description. So this Galvantula EX has two really good attacks, Charged Web and Fulgurite. Charged Web doing 220 for a Lightning and a Colorless against EX and Vs is honestly really, really solid. It just means that you'll be able to KO stuff like Luminion and Pheasantipity in one hit, which are very popular. And you'd be surprised the amount of players out there who are not patient and they will just bench a Luminion for whatever reason to grab their next turn's Iono for some reason. I don't know why players keep doing this, but it is a common mistake, one that Galvantula can capitalize on. Also, you tend to see players just benching Mew EX in the case that they need a pivot or whatever. That's another easy 2 price cards, so very handy for Galvantula. But yeah, the second attack, Fulgurite, for a Lightning Grass Fighting energy, does 180 damage, and you do have to discard all energy attached to Galvantula. However, during your opponent's next turn, they won't be able to play any item cards, including Ultra Ball and Rare Candy, which, in my opinion, are the most important ones, really. Like Buddy-Buddy Poffin, sure, if they still haven't set up by the time you get Fulgurite off, but Rare Candy is like the really big one that this stops. Also, like Switches, I guess, stops them, stops Pal Pad, variety of items that are really, really disruptive. So yeah, Fulgurite is fantastic, and you can actually do back-to-back Fulgurite into Charged Web with this deck. It's not the most difficult thing to pull off, surprisingly enough, despite the fact that I'm only playing Bibarel as a support Pokemon. But basically, you get to use this tool card called Powerglass, or I just call it Hourglass because that's basically what it is anyway. But regardless of that stupid nitpick, at the end of your turn, after your attack, if this Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot, pretty crucial, so this will do nothing when it's on the bench. But if it's in the active spot, you may attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to it. So, what I like to do really with Galvantula is if you don't have a lightning energy in hand, what I would always just say is get back the lightning energy with Powerglass. That seems super obvious, but there may be times where you're tempted to, whatever reason, take the grass or the fighting. 9 times out of 10, it's just better to take back the lightning because then it automatically sets up for Charge Web and you're already paying one of that attack cost. If you get back the fighting energy, for example, or the grass, it just means that your opponent could play an Iono and you could lose your lightning energy, and then, it's kind of another awkward step. You have to find the right energy to attach. So, yeah, just something to bear in mind if you're using Hourglass. The other thing in this list that we can also use to power up Galvantula and get a Charge Web or even back-to-back Fulgurites, which is only something that been able to do a few times, I can't lie. Like, the most I was able to do in a game was 2 in a row, I think. Yeah, 2 in a row. It's not an attack that you'll use that much, surprisingly, but I've definitely found that multiple Fulgurites back-to-back is quite difficult to pull off, even with this deck. But yeah, Crispin, not the most essential card in the world, but again, you're not like heavily reliant on it, so it's not such a big deal if you don't find it. However, it says search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards of different types, put one to your hand, and attach the other one to one of your Pokemon. I would just say be very careful with Crispin if you're new to using this card, because, there's definitely been an instance where I've attached a Lightning Energy to Galvantula, I've gone to use Crispin, and I've gotten like a Lightning Energy and a Fighting Energy, which doesn't help at all because it's one of each for Fulgurite. So yeah, just something to bear in mind when, using Crispin and things. Also, Crispin does combo quite nicely with this Galvantula, which has the attack Shocking Web, which for a Grass Colorless does 50 damage, but if it has a Lightning Energy attached to it, so, again, Crispin, it does 130 instead. But if you're against a Pokemon that has an ability, you'll do 180, which is enough to one-hit KO Charizard, which is great. It also can one-hit KO the minion, it can one-hit KO Mew EX, so again, these two prize snipers basically. The only downside to this Galvantula, especially against Charizard really, is it's a low hit HP, so it will get sniped, it will get killed very quickly, and at that point it can be a bit brutal because even with Hourglass, fairly cheap attacks, and Crispin to work with, you will have to be careful where you put the energy and many attachments. Also, an interesting note for this deck, I win most of my games when I don't actually lead with Joltik with Jolting Charge. That sounds really strange, but honestly, I just have a much better time going first, attaching a basic energy to Joltik, and then evolving and doing Charge Web turn 2. Honestly, that's just where it's at, really. If you go second with this Joltik, 9 times out of 10, it's going to get KO'd by your opponent's second turn, so most of the time I don't really worry about Jolting Charge too much. It's a great attack if you can get it off and you're not punished for it, but if you are punished for it, then chances are you're losing 2 energy, you've just lost a prize, it's a bit rough, so I'll try and go first wherever I can. If you have to start Bidoof or Manaphy, it's not the end of the world, like they have fairly low retreat cost, and this deck does run switches. So speaking of switches, we have 2 in the deck, but on top of that, we also have we have a Surfer, which is from the new set. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon if you do draw cards until you have 5 in your hand. We also play Prime Catcher as a spec of choice. I just found this to be really, really useful in this deck because it just puts the pressure off having to find boss when you really need to. So in turns where you have to, Arvin for an Ultra Ball for a Galvantula or Crispin to power up for Fulgurite, you can at the very least have the option to use Prime Catcher instead. So I do like that option a lot. Also playing one Capturing Aroma, just because I feel like this deck really should be playing more Ultra Ball, but you cap at 4, so 4 Buddy-Buddy Poffin, pretty self-explanatory, 2 Earthen Vessel, makes sense. Night Stretcher, excuse me, is a bit of a rough one because 9 times out of 10, I wouldn't say 9 times out of 10, but surely 50-50, I would like to play Super Rod in this deck, but realistically, I think Night Stretcher does get the job done for the most part, at least. Maybe you could swap it out for a 1-1 split, but I don't want to make things extra awkward, more awkward than they have to be. 1 Lost Vacuum, just in case your opponent is playing stuff like Big Charm to make their Pheasantipity a bit tankier. Also playing Giovanni's Charisma, probably the most cuttable card in the entire deck. You definitely don't need to play Giovanni. I just thought it was quite funny. It's technically a 4th Crispin, but you can only attach energy from your hand. You can also remove an energy, but in this day and age, energy acceleration is so aggressive, really, that, this is not going to be that disruptive. But I still thought it was a funny card to include, and I was struggling, in terms of what else I should play. So, yeah, I would definitely keep Surfer, though. I think the extra switch out is quite nice. So, yeah. And it's another draw supporter. But yeah, Arvin is for sure the most important support card in the deck, I would say, at least in the earlier turns. Maybe even cut an Iono for a 4th Arvin, I'd be tempted to, but yeah, it's just some thoughts on the trainers. As for energy, I've got a 3-4-3 split. This was originally just 3 of each, but I very quickly found that lightning energy was just way too important. So if you prize 1, if you have to discard 1 with Fulgurite, it can get very awkward very, very quickly. So I just bumped it up to a 4th count, and that's basically just solved all my problems with energy. Well, nearly all of them. I would still say Super Rod is worth consideration, but yeah. That's kind of it for Pokemon, trainers, and energy. Another thing I would say is Manaphy's just been useless so far. I don't know if people are just playing less spread decks or Radiant Greninja is less popular, but for some reason I have not needed Manaphy a single time. So whenever I see Manaphy in my deck, I just wish it was another trainer. But yeah, at the end of the day though, this is Galvantula EX. Hopefully I'll get some good gameplay recorded. And yeah, thank you for watching. Okay, so it does look like I'm up against Hydreigon. This is my first match against Hydreigon overall, so I'm very curious to see how this will go. I can't imagine it's that favorable for us, but we'll see how it goes. Manaphy might actually be important for once, so we'll have to bear in mind that we haven't prized Manaphy. I'm just going to very quickly check our prizes, make sure that there's nothing major. I mean, I don't know why I do this, because I forget about them almost immediately, but at least we've got plenty of energy. That's kind of like the main thing. So we'll get down Bidoof. Bibarel isn't actually essential, believe it or not, in this deck, but we'll see how it goes. At least it's not essential until the late game is what I meant to say, really. But yeah, we can just end turn because we don't have to do anything else. Ultra Ball is quite nice. It also means, though, that we will we might get Iono'd, I guess. It depends what my opponent has going on in their hand. My opponent has nothing. Okay, so interesting. They don't even attach an energy, which is a bit brutal for them. I will not Iono because I'm going to assume that they don't have much to work with. They can't get Hydreigon's spread move off in one attack, I don't think, which is good news for us. So I'm going to Ultra Ball away the... How do I want to do this? This and... this, maybe? Let me think about this. No. No, we'll keep the Switch. I will keep the Switch. I was confused there for a second, so I was like, I might want Ultra Ball for something to then Ultra Ball away for it, but no, I think we'll be fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this Galvantula. Sadly, the other one is 10 damage short from one killing Rotom, so I'm going to evolve here, and then, oops, bit of lag there. Then we shall Bibarel, and hopefully we get either another supporter, really, because we do have Ultra Ball to thin even further, but we don't get a lightning energy, actually. That is quite a pain. So what I might do here is just thwack one down there, I guess? Yeah, I think so. And then that'll be that for this turn, sadly. I mean, fine, I will do this. Just this one time I'll do this. I'll do this. I don't think it's necessarily the optimal play here, but I do kind of want my energy on the play, so I will use Jolting Charge. This is a very questionable play on the questionable play meter, by the way, but see, we don't have any grass energy left, so that's a bit of a problem. But I will get the lightning energy. I might thwack one on Bibarel just to be careful, rather. This could KO us if they get near Weapon Energy, but honestly, I don't care at this point. I would much rather just see what happens, you know. I think you should play your games with, yeah, some risk, sure, but I think you should be able to, you know, take some other risks. And, oh wait, can he KO us with Diano? What is this? What is this monster? Show me it. Weak to grass. Okay, so we can actually hurt it quite badly with the single price Galvantula, which is cool. But hey, at the very least, we'll be able to evolve up. That's kind of good, actually. The Hourglass is definitely a good draw. I might Hourglass this one, just because we might have to retreat anyway. So, although, yes, I will Hourglass this one. It's a shame we can't Fulgurite KO Rotom V, really, but it is what it is, I guess. Don't want to attach energy. Industrious Incisors, please. For stuff. That's not really what I wanted. Although it's probably a good idea to swing into this thing first. I could even get the single prize Galvantula this turn and swing into Hydreigon, which might not be a bad play, but he does one-shot us, so I don't think I'll bother doing that. I will discard the grass. No, actually, dumb move. Yes, no, that's fine. What am I saying? I'd rather keep the lightning on. Never mind. So we'll do this. Been a very long turn already. I mean, we could Fulgurite. That's the weird thing. Oh, decisions. Do I want to Fulgurite or not? No. I don't think I will Fulgurite. Actually, yes. No. I'm indecisive today. I'm in a very indecisive mood. I will Fulgurite this thing. And then that puts them in a rough spot, at least trainer-wise. So then they have to, you know, they have to work harder for their KOs. It also just thins down for Bibarel, right? That's going to be my justification for this. So we'll Fulgurite Hydreigon. We'll be able to get back the energy. And yeah, that'll be that. Unfortunately, they will be in a position to do their Obsidian attack at some point, which is a bit scary. To be honest, it's more important to Fulgurite when we know they can Rare Candy, so maybe I should have saved the Fulgurite play. but actually spec board. So I have the grass. Okay, I'll reattach the lightning energy then. Okay, so if you watch the deck profile, basically always try and reattach the lightning if you can. That's like the #1 rule of Galvantula. But this has been quite an expensive turn. We are already down 3 energy, which is why I kind of want to play Super Rod in this deck. So there's the Iono. There's the Ancient Booster Capsule, which doesn't count as an item, sadly. They will poison themselves, which is good. Eventually, the poison will come back to bite us, so we'll have to be careful that they don't get it so that they can have their own. They don't have an energy. Okay, that's huge. That's good for us. We can vacuum as well, the capsule. But there's the Poffin. I don't really want to vacuum this hand. What I will do, though, is... yeah, I'll attach the grass. I will Poffin, I guess. Yeah, I think I'll Poffin some basics out. Although, yes, I will Poffin. I will thin down a bit. So we'll get Manaphy down, because I think that's kind of important. We'd also have to be careful we don't deck out at all, and we don't burn through many switches, because Hydreigon's, one of their win conditions is that they can, you know, just boss mill. So we do actually have to be careful that we don't Bibarel ourselves to deck out. But aside from that, we should be fine. And we don't get much beyond this, actually. We don't not get much at all. We could evolve this one, which I might go ahead and do that now. Although I could wait. You know what? I'll evolve it just in case they do some like weird shenanigans. This is probably what they want me to do as well. So, you know, there is a downside there. And maybe I should have Lost Vacuumed this turn, but we'll see if this comes back to bite me at all. But yeah, I'll try not to burn too many more cards because we are getting like dangerously close to deck out situations. Like this deck does kind of deck itself out quite quickly. So we take 2 more prize cards. We will have to chew our way through at least 1 more Hydreigon, unfortunately. And then after that, we'll be able to boss Rotom, hopefully, and close out the game. But we also can't close out the game with the single prize Galvantula, so we do have to bear that in mind as well. Okay, what did we prize? Crispin Ultra Ball. Crispin's alright, actually. I like Crispin. Crispin does mean that if... okay, what are we getting here? I guess the Fighting Energy, sure. So now we can go for the Fulgurite play again, which is good. So we can Fulgurite this thing if we really need to, but I don't think my opponent will do that. Yep, they're going to boss Bibarel. So this is the one thing that I really dislike about Bibarel is, yeah, they're going to go for Toxic Powder. They must not have Rare Candy thingy. What is this? Perilous Jungle, sure thing. So that's a bit infuriating. There is a world where we let Bibarel go down, actually. Unless we Crispin to retreat Bibarel, but that's way too expensive. Ooh, okay. Is that really that wise if you're not going to KO my Bibarel? Although maybe they are, actually. Maybe they have the Switch. Yeah, because they do have access to items, so... okay, they might go for a Switch here. So that's a bit unfortunate. We will be able to get rid of their crystal, though. So, unfortunately, Bibarel stays in the active spot. In many ways, I'd much rather they just KO'd Bibarel, actually. Unfortunately, I don't think we can actually get away with leaving... how many stretchers are we down? We're already down a stretcher as well. This is a nightmare already. Because I don't want to get rid of this when it's so efficient attacking into this, because it's hitting for weakness at the very least. So it is still a 2-shot. Yep, I know, I need to go faster. Vacuum away. Crispin? Sure. He thinks I'm slow playing. I know what's going on. He thinks I'm slow playing. This is the problem with recording videos, is I can't, like, multitask very well. You. Get out of here. I think I can discard this. I think. Yes, I can. Okay, cool. Then I shall not Crispin, because I want to just see something, although actually... yeah, you have retreat cost of 1. We can just evolve you anyway, it doesn't matter. Then I'll Industrious Incisors. Thankfully, because he is poisoned, he will actually get KO'd eventually, so we don't have to worry about any nasty stall strategies. It would be nice to... that's not what I wanted either. Is this going to be a pass situation? I think it is. Yeah. I think it's just a pass. So unfortunately, Bibarel will go down, coming back into my turn. But that's assuming he doesn't boss Switch, which is probably the play that he wants to do. So in hindsight, maybe I could have Iono'd and, you know, removed the threat of this absolute monster from doing its thing. I mean, he's got the gas going. I do respect it. I do respect the gas. So Obsidian is only really that good, though, if he can remove Iono. So he kind of has to do that if he wants to, you know, I guess get back into it. So he hits me with his own Iono, which is a shame. So there's DNO. What I'm looking to do, though, is hit them with a Fulgurite. Okay, Terrapagos is interesting. Instant charge, yeah, fair enough. So we did lose the boss, unfortunately, which is a bit of a blow. I will still go ahead and Fulgurite, though. So we'll Fulgurite for another prize. At that point, though, we can play it so that we just boss something, for example, though. So I don't hate this at the end of the day. How many fighting energy are we down, though? None. Okay, that's fine. Means I can attach down there. So I will go ahead and put the fighting energy on this guy. Yes, I will do that. Just thinking about what I should do. So Manaphy will actually be crucial. I did say in the deck profile that Manaphy was doing Nout, but it is important. Arvin, I don't think we need anything. Could Prime Catcher and swing into this thing, but in all honesty, I would much rather just hit them with a Fulgurite. Is that just the better play here? It's tricky, actually. I'm going to hit it with a Fulgurite. Okay, one prize. Thank you. I'm just thinking. I didn't disconnect, I'm still thinking. Aligning energy, that's a good deal. So, what do I want to get back? Logically, the grass, actually. Maybe the grass is wise. I mean, we're not going to Fulgurite with this thing again, really, but I'll just get back the grass. We have 2 lightning in hand. Well, 1 lightning, so I think it's okay to do that at this stage. So this thing is a bit of a menace, but we actually don't need to KO it. We can, if we really wanted to, avoid it. Now, he will be going after, I'm sure he's thinking about how he can remove Manaphy and do Obsidian. So there's another 1 prize. So yeah, unfortunately, if this evolves again, we will lose our other boss thing. So that's, yeah, I was going to say that's not going to do me. So that's annoying.